John was in the exact spot where Brock got stuck trying to turn around. Since John was 6 feet tall and 200 pounds, he clearly knew that turning around in this part of the tunnel was not an option for him. He was in a 12-inch high space, with not enough lateral area for his pressed body to ball up for a turn. He pushed forward to the ledge area and squeezed over the top of it. It was a tight area to get through, but he thought he could see it open up down below. He sucked in his stomach and pressed himself through the squeeze, pulling forward on the rocks in front of him. He would be moving headfirst in a downwards angle now, but it looked like there was an area ahead to turn around. John didn't know it, but no one else had ever crossed over this ledge before. He was in completely uncharted territory. Despite being in an extremely tight and uncomfortable position, John kept his cool. He was certain that there would be an opening ahead. All along, he thought he was in some part of the birth canal, where many cavers had felt stuck in the constricting tunnel, but ended up being just fine once they reached the other side. Once he passed through a tight zone, he started to slide toward the bottom of this tunnel. He was nearly doing a handstand, trying to hold his body up and figure out how to push backwards. He still couldn't turn, and now he was upside down. Gravity was pulling his 200-pound body against the fading strength of his arms. He yelled out to his brother Josh and told him not to follow him, but to go back out. They discussed his options and decided that moving forward to try to turn around was the best idea. He was collapsing onto his shoulders and head at this point, and needed to make a move to get out of this vertical position. His headlamp gave him a glimpse of a hole in the floor ahead, which might lead to a larger space. He felt a little more hopeful now, thinking that they would be laughing about this misadventure over Thanksgiving dinner. He made the slight turn and headed towards the hole. Exactly how he got himself into this tunnel hole is unknown. It's thought that he may have slipped, hit his head, and became wedged in the tight space. The other thought was that he looked in the hole, but misjudged what he saw, thinking it was an opening and not simply a dead-end fissure. Either way, John had ended up in a small opening in the bottom of this tunnel, which was impossibly narrow. Just 18 inches by 10 inches, not much bigger than the screen of a laptop computer. John found himself wedged nearly completely upside down at a 70-degree angle. He had spent some time trying to push himself back upwards out of this hole. It was exhausting. His arms were pinned in a useless position, one folded under his chest and the other trapped on a rock down by his side. He strained against the walls and quickly realized that all of his effort would not move him back up 5 feet to the shallow tunnel. His calves and feet were still free up in the passage, but his legs were now wedged on the smallest side of the hole, only 8 inches wide. He started yelling for Josh again. His brother knew that he was trying to turn around, so his yells were not a good sign. Josh made his way back into this tight space and traversed the corkscrew path. But unlike his brother, he went feet first this time. He continued toward the sound of John's voice, up over the ledge. He finally came to an alarming sight. He could see the end of his brother's legs sticking out of the rock, as if it had swallowed him whole. He inched forward until his feet could squeeze one of John's legs. He tried to grip and pull up, while John pushed from his end. After several futile attempts, they were both feeling exhausted and frustrated. Josh could see that this was very serious, and they would need professional help to get him out. They agreed that Josh should go get help, and John should try, as much as possible, to stay calm and relaxed. While Josh went for help, one of the other family friends went into the area to speak to John and let him know that he wasn't alone. For several hours, John just remained trapped upside down, focused mostly on the chore of breathing. The fissure squeezed his chest, where only shallow breaths were possible. All of his efforts to move up had actually settled him deeper into the crack. As time went on, gravity continued to pull him against the rough walls of the tunnel, tightening its grip on his exhausted body. Once help had arrived, the first cave rescuer, Susie Matola, made her way to where John was stuck.